second. All right. All in favor? Opposed, same sign. Carried. Receipt of information provided is not any numbers. I'll just an update on the prior number 7. Number 7. Number 7. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you. All right. Recommendations. Responsibility and the time clock. That was that sheet we were talking about at the last meeting. Webster discuss on here. I'm running this room for you, or do you want me to just go with?
I have them updated in the last week. That's okay.
I don't know what it will go to me. Much.
As administrator made his appointment? My appointment, I'll be making my appointments to the board or recommending to the board at the next board. So today I thought the expectation is that the executive committee and our rules of order stated that they would like to make recommendations for suggestions. So I'll accept those today and I'll come back to the board meeting with my appointment.
Because you make
the citizen appointments to the various non-standing committees. Well, there's only about 6 that are due right now. Now next month there will be a few more, and then next year there'll be more. Different terms. Most of them are about 2 years, but they don't all come up on April.
Then the Board of Adjustment, Mike John also keep it on.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
What is the Board of Adjustment? I see something advertised about an opening for
Board, I believe there is an alternate position open, and I think it's due in another month or two. So we're advertising now to get people to express interest.
Thank you, Administrator. All right. First one over the North Track. I know we talked about this with my Chris. I got to ask the executive committee, kind of the chairman on staff on that.
Yeah, so I was just thinking that this trail, so I go to this, right? And, you know, it's kind of just, I don't know, this seems a little bit not right that I don't sit on the trail committee, like the trail committee is the environmental services committee, right? And you got someone from general government committee, you know, I'm going to the NORCAC meetings. There are about 4 of them a year, and you're involved in the emails and the other things. But you know, I just thought maybe better from someone from environmental services, you know, in their wheelhouse. You know, they did report back a little easier than I can because the board say, hey, here's what we've done. So I would just leave it open, whether we wanted to say, I certainly will keep doing it. But, you know, I've also talked about like me sitting on with Amy Middleton on the trail, what do we call that trail commission or trail advisory thing. So I thought, well, you know, if I could be a little more neutral then, and because the NORCAC is a little more kind of motorized, and I guess I think maybe there would be a conflict there too with me sitting on this one and then sitting on that one. So I'm hoping someone from environmental services would take that spot, but I'll certainly stay in there until that's resolved.
Mr. Chair, what comment you would say? Do we need somebody in that committee? Hired?
Yeah, we do need something.
Mr. Chair.
done on that committee, and I really think it's vitally important that you stay on that whole committee.
That's fine.
I realize, that you expect that somebody else, to put somebody new on there, trails, it's been an ongoing thing. And with your experience, I think it's vitally important that you stay on that committee. That's my opinion.
What do you think, O'Connell? Do you have an opinion?
Unless somebody from environmental services wants to volunteer, it'd be all right. As you said, if you think it's going to be hard, we have a volunteer.
Well, we do. So NorCat did do a new strategic plan. That's what we worked on all last year. And what it is basically it's a 10-county consortium of how do we link trails in this 10-county area. And we do it in Spooner, like I said, 4 times a year in our offices. And there is county representation. There is a couple of county board chairs. There's the state and their chair is on it. Forestry, you got guys in parks. I mean, you got a broad range of people that are on there. And their strategic plan has changed to be about all trail users. So in our strategic plan now, we are not just strictly a motorized access. So we do have now clear guidelines of what we're supposed to be working on. And I don't mind keeping doing it. You guys could certainly bring it up on your committee.
I have a suggestion.
So,
I'm thinking that maybe, Tim, just now, the volunteers, so, put it on there, discuss it here.
yeah.
You could alternate, okay, whatever.
Probably not going to alternate, because there's only 4 meetings a year.
Sure.
It's just whether or not someone is wants to get involved. If not, I have no problem saying, so you can leave me in there, Brian? Sure. But,
We'll have to ask.
yeah, there's going to be chaos. Or what I probably would need to do is, after our meetings, what I probably should do is write your agenda or something and bring you guys the updates of the plan of what they're working on and actually have to attend later meetings a couple times a year. Maybe that would be a way to get that information back to your committee.
Sure.
Okay. We'll leave it there for now.
All right, the next appointment I have received a letter from West Central Regional Planning. I had some interest from Adam Jarko and Tom Magnifici. I believe that I got a letter here from Tom that you have on your desk indicating his qualifications to belong to the BMX committee, which, if you read him, he's been in the Army as a Ranger. He's on the Board of Horizon House Facility for Endeavors within Illinois. He's been on the supervisor on the county board representing Garfield. He serves on the Polk County Historical Society and Museum down here. Been a successful business owner over the years, it looks like. He owns his own landscape company and still doing that right now. He's irrigation, waterworks irrigation. Is there any other discussion on that? Is there any comments on that?
Did Wayne Johnson?
He did.
Okay, so I had a call. Three people.
3 people. One.
This is, and I think this is what we were trying to do for our moving order. This is one of our administrators' decisions. This is an appointment. I think the idea was the guy was contacted by William. I've had a few people call me about a number of these positions, right? And I was like, well, the idea was I don't want to make all these decisions on my own. The opinion is that he would at least have us help them and maybe give some type of recommendation. I don't even know if it's a recommendation. I don't know what he's looking for, but that was the idea, that this committee would get these during the year, basically help the chair or help the administrator make decisions on, you know, is it time to have someone new, you know, is it time for a change, is it, you know, if there's other people that want to do things, you know, how do we give other people an opportunity? And that's why I just felt like any of these kinds of jobs we all have, I just felt like we should give people the opportunity to do other things and have other people get involved. So that's my opinion about it.
And also if they're qualified.
Yeah, they need to be qualified. They need to have some experience, right?
But at least you have the want to do it.
Yeah, the one and the experiences. Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, I know Tom's very interested, and so is Ray. So
Tom was on the county board, so we've got it.
Oh, yeah. You guys.
William was chairman of the county board. He also set up
Yes, he's currently on that committee, but that's the interesting thing, and so this is a authority of the administrator to make these appointments. But my opinion is I welcome the board's decision, because boards change every 2 years, these appointments. This one in particular is only for 2 years as well. And it's like anything, you know, you have to judge and evaluate. And what I don't think we want to do with the board is to say, once you're appointed, it's a lifetime appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to hear, you know, who else in the community wants to step up and do this. I also think it's a good idea to get your opinions, because you may have philosophies or opinions as to what type of person you want. So I will take these letters, but I would certainly welcome your opinion if you have a recommendation.
I do have a recommendation. I'm for change. I'm for change with everything. You know, I think it's healthy for our county to have change. So I would support Tom. But, you know, if no one else wanted the job and no one was qualified, I'd certainly support Stephen Williams with that. He's probably done a good job. So, but I certainly support someone new, and I would give you the support to pick Tom as my opinion.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I feel we've got two very good candidates there. Tom is the husband of my representative, Kay McAfee, and I'm sure that he has a lot of experience along that line that could obviously be helpful. Is William, is he also involved on a tourism council? He is the board president for our county tourism. Yeah, so she's involved in some county stuff. So, yeah, I would leave it up to you, but they're two very good candidates. I appreciate this letter here from Tom. I know what very good.
And sure, I guess my thing too is
I don't know. Let's see if there's any other opinions first. Jay?
I could have sat next to the county board. I totally believe that we qualified. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that we're on this committee. Totally gives the current so maybe that's my experience over the last couple of years. And he's very active in politics.
No.
He was this year. He's been very active in the so I would certainly give it up to him.
Jim?
Sure. Can I remind the board members to turn their mics off?
I know,
I think it should be our policy that anyone that wants these jobs, that they do send in
Mm-hmm.
qualifications. A phone call is not So,
No, that's why I said we only have two. Really.
even though you said Adam Jericho.
Oh, well, yeah, I think that he didn't send me anything. He just,
Okay,
he presented some interest and then
sure.
I never got anything. Yeah, that's what I said to him actually. I said, you sure you want to take on something else?
Yeah, okay.
All right, well, I agree with everyone here. I think Tom's got great qualifications too, and so does William. I've known both of them for a while myself, so I guess we'll put it in the administrator's hands to make that decision. You've heard from 3, 4, 5 of us, and
You know,
you pretty much
it's
got
not a
it.
bad thing to have multiple options.
Right.
That's a great thing.
I agree.
You have to think about it.
All right, so we'll just leave that appointment up to our administrator then, and we'll move on. Thank you. Huh?
You have other ones that you're gonna?
I do.
Oh.
Did you get? I am right now.
You said we're done.
I said with that one.
Oh.
Unless I misspoke, I apologize. I did. All right. Well, we have one more here. Our county board of supervisors have showed a lot of interest in a lot of different positions. There's one supervisor that doesn't have a position on any outside committees. That's Steve Warndall. So I've talked to Chairman Nelson about this a little bit, and John, you're on like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and I talked to Steve about that, and there's 2 other avenues I think we can get him to be a voting member. The chair, the fair board has a delegate at large that is a voting member, and then they also have a district voting member, and both of them are voting members on the fair board. I'm pretty sure that he can get elected to either one of those positions. In fact, that's part of it.
You said election. Is that an election?
They have the fair board, that they send in their resume like for his district and for at large, and then the fair board votes on each district. I'm not sure that there is even anybody filled in on that one district. So I'm pretty confident that he can get on the board and he'd like to have a voting position. As representative of the county, I don't have a voting position.
True. But, well, I don't know. He talked to me and he said he campaigned quite a bit on being on the Fair Society. Obviously you talked to him, John.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I haven't talked you. I guess I haven't talked to him since you did.
So who has the authority to appoint him? That again? I think that would be the.
No, I think that's
the chairman. Oh, the chairman of the
that's county chair.
county chair.
County chair.
Mm-hmm.
So
what do you think, Mr. Chair?
Well, my first thought would be to contact the town for John just said against them, and I know he has to be on there to be appointed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, for change and given to people opportunity. So what I would say, my opinion would be is that if he's asked, I would say because of the fact that he doesn't have any other really opportunities to be in any other roles, I would appoint him to that and then encourage him to, if that's what he wants to be then, and if he gets elected to a voting member, then I would reappoint John back to that position. But right now, I would go ahead and I would then say Steve Warndall would be appointed. And then if he gets voted on, then I'd say we would go. So I'd like the minutes request. If he gets voted in, then John would go back to the town.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. How about we do that, John?
Thanks for bringing that up, John. I'm just writing a couple things down. Okay. I think that's it. Other than the EDRC board, I got Joe, Amy, and Tracy. I know she didn't want it. She already's on another committee that she wanted to be on. And she kind of didn't want to really be on that. Are you on that, Joe? Are you already on that? Oh, no, you're not.
I know Fran had said she was.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, but I don't have that written down. I thought, yeah, I'll ask her.
Well, if it's a matter of.
I gotta see her next, we see her next hour anyway, if she shows up, okay?
I would nominate her,
Okay,
then you could just say it's,
sure. All right,
if she doesn't want to do it, then
we'll find somebody else.
that's the ATR school.
Yes, sir. Correct.
One thing I did get asked was that, did Amy take the web cap?
Yeah, Amy, wait a minute.
Called me out.
Yeah, she did. I got it on here somewhere. What's cap? Jay, he did.
Oh, Jay?
Yes, you did. I remember that, because I have it written down.
So that's the way we shook that out.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what you said. I remember you saying it and I wrote it down.
Amy said that she was worried about getting all this submitted.
Yeah, she did. Because I had her name first and then Jay said, that's when she said she was over me.
I think you asked it, and, through the telecommunications, and in my mind, it's a little unclear, but, it didn't look like we had anybody, and I
Sure, I can answer. Well, this is usually,
That's all right, Jay.
okay.
Okay. Great. Well, we're set here then.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to update you on a couple of others. These are people who really probably due in April, and I've talked to them already before the order was passed. But for the HHS committee,
Mm-hmm.
the citizen members I've appointed Sabrina
McGill,
Bill
Rita.
Dr. Harney.
Okay, what about Rita McKee?
Rita's already on her time.
Okay.
She's good for another year.
Oh, 22, yep, you're right. Thank you.
Sabrina?
Yeah, she's been on it.
Sabrina McGill? McGill?
It doesn't say Sabrina with I was about.
Well, John, you probably know who it is. You're on that committee.
Sabrina? She was the secretary for, don't take it
No.
as, the same Sabrina, she's one of the, secretary for the, housing association.
No, sir. No, sir. This Sabrina is a
Yeah.
yeah, practically.
I want to mention
I'll get used to this microphone business. Get it. Just leave them on. Just kidding. All right, so any other questions, about appointments and so forth? Not, I will get these to the clerk and the administrator and we'll move on from there. Sure.
you want to be the
Yes.
okay, so
Yep.
I'm not going to be all that.
You're there. I have you there today. Yep, you are on CJCC. That was Dean's Stockford now. He's no longer here, so you're there. Okay, any other questions? Not, we'll move on. Update on CB-19, Vince.
Okay. Let me start off by just saying, I think you've all seen the numbers in terms of cases in Polk County. I want to commend our health department and the citizens of the county. But we've done a pretty good job. We've had 6 cases identified in this county now. And, we are tracking any contacts they've had as long as we can to make sure it doesn't spread. So we always knock on wood. We're fortunate that so far it's been relatively small, considering how close we are to the cities, and the number of people that travel into our county. A couple of things I'll get to, but, first, we have been looking very seriously and closely at what the financial impact of this is on our county. And, we'll be getting more detail of that at some point, in the general government. We're looking at significant losses of revenue like sales tax, from the jail, the, Golden Age Manor and so on. We've got some increased expenses that we have to do to keep people safe and allow people to work from home. But with that, we think, the FEMA will reimburse a certain percent of those increased expenses. But the real effect will be in revenue loss, potential revenue loss. So we have taken steps, that range from, reducing expenses, not hiring, having a modified hiring freeze, not fill open positions unless they're necessary. We are also looking at many alternatives to bring in added revenue. And those things, I can't say for sure we're going to get all of them. We're looking at grants. We're looking at other things that can help us offset the loss. The other thing I'll mention, and I'll let Malia address the big news from last night, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin rules on the governor's executive authority to limit businesses to home based. If you mind just give an overview of that.
So it was a 4-3 decision, and it was 151 pages.
We read them all.
Well, I didn't read the dissent, because why bother at this point. So I just read the majority opinion, and the concurrences. So it completely overturned, the Order 28. So the Secretary did a unique order, regarding travel and business closures. So that is completely overturned. As I mentioned previously, the authority for the Secretary to mandate store closures is expressed in statute. So that's the only part that remained in place as far as, obligations of citizens to not reopen. So going forward, what we're looking at is the potential for the rulemaking process. So just like in zoning, when you have administrative code like NR 115, that's a rule that is created pursuant to an administrative agency's interpretation of statute. And that's basically what the Supreme Court said the Secretary did, but she didn't follow the rulemaking process. So we could see negotiations going on between the Secretary and the Governor and the Republican legislature and see if there's a modified type of rule that everyone could buy into. So we could see sort of a pendulum swing, like feedback, maybe with, requiring social distancing in certain types of establishments or limited occupancy. But that remains to be seen. That's the only thing that we're all kind of waiting for. But as of the present moment, there is no restriction on any businesses. So I think we're going to see an increase, especially here in our border counties. We're going to see folks coming over from Minnesota, maybe even there wouldn't normally, because they want, they're going to their crazy.
Yeah, I would say too that because the businesses now can't open, we're not suggesting that, hey, now we go back and have more of this virus ever occurred, because the virus is still real. And so our approach, we met this morning, we will be sending out continued communication about what are some best practices, safety measures, and not just the businesses, but to the whole county, so that people can make good decisions and decide for themselves, at what building do I want to go into, what restaurant. If I get a haircut, I want to go to one that I know they are practicing good safety measures. So that's what we want to stress, safety. I think the main thing this ruling did was that you can't just apply a rule to everybody. You got to use some good judgment, common sense, so it doesn't feel like we're being controlled by government. But we also know that here in Polk County, we can take care of ourselves if we use our common sense and we practice with that. So businesses will have a chance to do that, citizens will have a chance to do that, but we might, in all cases, will emphasize you have to maintain good, safe distancing, wash your hands off, and follow all those things, because we don't want this virus to take off.
Right. Any other comments?
One other thing that you might hear sort of floating around, immediately Dane County Board of Supervisors instituted their own local version. And I do see that it looks like they're proposing St. Clair County to do the same thing. I'm not going to make any particular recommendation on whether it's a good or a bad or it's even enforceable, but you just might hear rumbling that someone is trying to do that, notwithstanding this.
Question, would that be, one of the district Supreme Court's ruling to do their own from counties?
No, not necessarily. So there's an argument to be made because local health officers do have certain authority. I mean, if you have somebody who was COVID-19 positive and they were ordered to self-quarantine and they refused, I mean, our public health officer would have an obligation to go in and try to make sure that that person was following the law. As far as the local public health officer's authority to implement those local measures, because it's an action of the county board, which is the county legislature,
right.
It is different from what happened statewide because you had a designee, the Secretary of Health, making this without the legislature. Whereas what Dane County did and what some other counties are doing, it's the county board or the legislature saying, hey, public health, I'm authorizing this authority for you. So it is different, but clearly there will be litigation in these counties to try to do that. So, whether it is similarly struck down, it remains to be seen because again, it's an act of the county legislature, right?
What court would see that then? Would it just be or would it just go to county?
Circuit court, the local judges like to recuse themselves because, they have, they're from that county. You get an out-of-county judge, it would take a lot of time. There would probably be a request for an injunction, and it would be a lot of litigation that probably wouldn't take too much.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, John.
Just a comment I was reading out to the Sun last night, and they had a comment from most of the business, Cascade Bar and thrift store and a couple of other ones, and they said that if the Supreme Court did come down favorably, they were going to still roll out the governor's guidelines as a safety precaution. So it's nice, I think, that our local government has input and authority, but I think businesses are going to pretty much use their own judgment. A lot of them are going to just say no.
Okay, where's
Pooch when you need it? Right. Where's Pooch when you need it?
Pooch. All right, that was a legend. Legend is all mine or the legend?
Oh, we got the same publisher at Cambridge, so I think a lot of people have handed themselves the same way.
All right. Moving on then, number 8, update regarding investigating the options for statement of claim by Sam and Mr. Netherland, the administrators, looked into this apparently.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've made a series of phone calls, reached out, many supervisors have reached out to me, and I appreciate that as well. Some of the key people I've talked with include Northwest Wisconsin Electric Company, who own the dam and who have submitted an application or a permit to remove the dam. And they did it obviously because how expensive this thing is, and they don't have a need for it. I called the DNR about the possibility of delaying the decision on that, and they said it's out of their hands. However, Northwest Electric would certainly have the right and the ability to withdraw that request, and even if their deadline is next year to do something, and he said it's his understanding at DNR that it would not be a problem to resubmit it next year as long as it's submitted before the deadline. And so the thought being, I called Northwest Electric again and said, would you consider withdrawing it and delaying it a year? The reason is because I've had communications with some of you and others that are elected officials, Jay Magnifici and Senator Shatner, have indicated that they would be supportive of keeping the dam and trying to negotiate in the legislature and with the governor a way to earmark funds to save it. So that was the thought about delaying. I've made other calls to the Lake Association about the Clam Falls flowage, and I talked to them about ownership because Northwest Electric does not want to own. Clam Falls said, yeah, we'd like to own it. But when you get into the details of how much does it cost, you know, they can afford liability insurance, they think, which may be $15,000 to $18,000 a year. But then there's maintenance that's required. And so let's just say you're talking $25,000 a year. In addition to that, you've got to start thinking about future maintenance. You know, if there's a giant rainfall and it washes out part of that dam, it's got to be repaired then. And then also you got to think down the road, it may get rated as questionably safe again, and then you're talking another major expense to repair that. So that's extra money, and the thought there is, well, I asked, where would you get that money to pay for that? And they admitted, at least the Lake Association person I spoke with, well, if you get above 30,000 or so, then we probably need some help. And I think that help they would come to Polk to Butte County. I also called the Army Corps of Engineers about what are some options besides repairing the dam at a cost of $1.6 million or whatever. And is there a way to create a spillway or culverts that would redirect the water so that the dam would not need to be repaired to such an extent? And the Corps of Engineers said, his point was, this is happening everywhere around this part of the country. Nobody wants to own dams, were his words. And you have to watch out for the major expense that will follow. Even if you have, his point was, even if you have liability insurance, if something happens and that water goes downstream and destroys something, they're not just going to sue the owner of that dam. They're, you know, or the insurance company. They're going to sue the owner or anyone else they can to get money back. So, his point to me was, that's why nobody wants to own these dams. And he did not think that he could, and this was just his opinion from listening to it, he just said, I don't think we could create a spillway that would satisfy the DNR. But that's something we could continue to investigate. He just said, don't know if that's going to fix the problem or fix the owner. Yes.
You just got to touch it. That's helpful.
Is that association sanctioned by
The Lake Association, I believe they are a non-profit.
okay, then they have a tax.
Yeah. Now they can, there is some advantage to owning the dam if you want to apply for grants. But now, we've already considered the grant, of like matching funds up to $400,000 that's potentially there. If the owner wanted to put in $400,000, we could potentially get up to $400,000 additional dollars, but that's only about half of that cost to repair it. And then you've got another now it's just a little over $600,000 in escrow, from the company that's managing the dam. So we're still short 600 to 800. So that's a significant chunk of money.
Good, Jay? All right. My question, statement that I don't know if that grant is guaranteed from what I understood too. So, does the Clam Falls Town Board make any recommendations to you or discuss this with you at all?
I have not talked to the town board yet.
I sat down and I had business with the American DC and the budget is already set this year. But they said by some time here, they said that in the next budget, they would put in an application, they could put in an application for some help They said 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been any problem. But right now, they can't do anything now. Just like
biennium budget.
And I think that's that's probably the best option so far in my mind is if we could delay it, if there's no guarantee. And so Northwest Electric is taking it to their board and asking, would we be willing to delay this permit? And it will cost them, $25,000 for another year of maintenance and insurance.
Sure. Chris?
Yeah, and I think it would be important for you to reach out to the township because I know Supervisor Olson discussed some things about, the concern of the DNR asking for a variance is highly unlikely. We've only given out one. So that's why this organization gets told ask for a variance because someone said, oh, we don't do them out very easy, which I think we both agree that was kind of wrong. We thought that was a poor decision on the owner's part, at least not to ask and file the application to just see what the DNR's issues are, because otherwise you don't know, it's just talk. And the second thing I know the township made a comment about was, some dams have a lot of people living below them, even Folsom Lake. When we look at our high water, our flood markers, and that dam failed, we had to redo those with that bridge and that Folsom High and Folsom Lake. And, you go way down Folsom Branch to see how many properties are affected. There's a number of houses that now also require flood insurance. So I get that that's what you look at. Now on the Clam Falls Dam, is what I understand, there is zero structures affected by a failure of the dam. So the liability of this particular dam, because it's in a rural community, has almost zero effect on any personal property or any potential loss of life. So I think the risk was very minimal, and I would encourage this committee to give direction to the administrator and the staff, the attorney, corporation counsel, everyone in the leadership of this county to do everything possible to delay it and to encourage them to delay it would be something I would ask for. And follow our resolution, 07-20, because even in that we did say that we would assist in doing everything possible, even possible litigation. So if we needed to have our letter sent from our corporation counsel, I know she can write very good letters, and I think I would encourage the administrator to use all tools necessary to be my opinion.
Again, I just want to make a point. We have no authority to do anything other than you said Mr. Malone can make a recommendation to them. Just a minute. Let me finish.
You're wrong.
Let me finish. I'm not wrong.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong. We don't own the dam. Northwestern Electric does. And again, I make the point that if you want to write a letter, that's fine. But I just did. That's my point.
So that's you good.
Let John talk.
So, are you proposing a resolution that the administrator court council should,
that's what my point was to our chair of our committee that, it's not about who owns the dam. We're not here to debate who owns the dam. The issue is the extension. We, as supervisors, we passed a resolution. The county board passed it. Whether you voted for it or not, you should do everything in your power to support our resolution that our county board passed. And I asked our chairman of this committee to support the resolution. And in the resolution, it gives the attorney authority to have possible litigation. It doesn't say that the authority is only writing a letter. I just want to make sure that the chairman of this committee reads the resolution and understands it before he says what he thinks it says.
The pointing that out to me. I believe I have read the resolution numerous times. Thank you. I don't know, what do we have to do? You've already made your recommendations on the resolution, so.
I will continue, and this is I will get back to Northwest Electric, I'll get back with all these parties to see if we can delay, but then also I'll talk with legal counsel about the option of, is there a way for any group to stop this process? And I think it has something to do with ownership, but standing, right?
Okay.
We'll continue. I'm not done by
okay.
Everything's in place.
We're good. I'm good. You good?
I'm good.
Okay. Moving on then. Research committee.
I'm right.
Oh, we don't. Okay. Well, we're sorry to hear that, John. I see the bandage is still on, so hopefully you'll be better. I see Chris's is off, so his must get better. Number 9, research committee responsibility of ATV, UTV, and recreational vehicle usage. Was that from your committee, public safety? Yeah, I think that is. There was some discussion from public safety and the public works about moving responsibilities of that recreational use to the committee. I know. Who's there? Oh, you were. Yeah. You and Maria. I know you two were, but. Yeah, go ahead.
I think what the reason this came up was the fact that environmental services has an oversight for the trails and like that. However, we felt that the ATV, UTV situation was somewhat unique in as much as it was trying to develop specific trails not compatible with horses or snowmobiles or anything else. It was a specific group in order to try to enhance the trail and experiencing some of the impact that they're having on other counties financially. It's quite impressive, actually. And the fact that this group would still answer to the trails and the county trail scenario, but
is that environmental services you say?
Specifically, but they're part of it. This would report to them too, but work with public protection due to the fact we've got the highways, we've got public safety and our recreational officer. There's a lot of connections between Barron County already with these people. We've got some very strong advocates of ATV, UTVs from both sections of the county, north and south. The one guy from the north that would help us develop is a matter of he writes thousands of miles a year. He travels all over the counties of the north, Ashland, Douglas. They travel immensely. And he's very astute as to what the trails are like in the county. I felt that if, in fact, it got into the environmental services committee as a small portion of the overall trail sites, I felt that it would get lost and it would take a long time before we would come up with anything to be inclusive in reference to development. And who's funding? These people are definitely trying to get much more available and so they're ready to go. And I just thought that if we could direct them, go directly to the public safety, and we could work with them on a regular basis, rather than getting lost in the quagmire of the entire overall picture, including horses.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
We did vote unanimously, right, and I think on our committee that we should, have this on our executive committee for discussion and, take a leadership role working with the environment committee and the court council, what they do with this committee.
Thank you, John. I'd like to hear from Kim now.
Yep, that would be fine. We can do it, yeah. Because we're gonna have the trail advisory, this is one part of it. Any special group like this, that would be great to have.
Do you think that would interfere with, all the research that's going on with the trails and,
No,
no?
they're more roads and stuff.
No, I understand that. Okay.
I think it would be great because it's,
You just go ahead.
Along with Tim's, comment and your question, in fact, I think it would take the pressure off of the problem that we're having with the concept of trails, including horses and stuff. But,
I'm glad you make that.
no, I think it would work actually opposite what you're saying there, right in line with what Jim.
Well, no, I'm fine with that if that's agreeable.
So I think the proper procedure then will to develop a committee, separate from the trails to work with us on that.
To work with public safety and public works?
Yeah, I mean, I support the idea too. You know, I just know we don't wanna mock up what we've already been doing, but I think that public safety would just that out.
Well, yeah, there'd have to be something.
That on your agenda, I could see you guys bringing up recommendations from your committee. They could run through the environmental services committee, which then could kick up to this new trails committee, where we could include them in, so it would be one more way that I could see us on our trail committee having questions about, let's say, ATV use on our public roads or things like that, where you guys would already vet those locations, those maps, where that would be good information for them, this trail committee to include in future planning, just that we're not going back and trying to rewrite or giving the authority right now until we're done with our stellar plan. I think that's the kicker with our DNR, that we don't want to mess up our stellar plan, but let's just say this is on your agenda that you guys start talking about it. I think, and then maybe don't form another committee right now, a subcommittee, just have it on your agenda and bring us recommendations.
On public works?
But sure, I mean, certainly I think you should have,
However, the problem with some organization committee of some type to work with them, we wouldn't have more than just a suggestion that then we're going to open up for comments and hopefully they would show. If we had a committee that we are interested in, announcement they could even start some similar projects or things like that. It's a pretty good sized project that ATV put in the
Yes, sir.
probably not really at least just that's a couple $1 million grant from that state and to develop areas.
So what I hear you saying is that you think the county should just have a standing ATV, UTV committee, some kind of subcommittee that reports to you.
That's right, I was just getting that.
That works with you.
So it's not like an ad hoc committee or anything, it's just, I guess I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna put this in the.
Your committee would be that committee that would work.
Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying, Chris, and I don't disagree with that. Go ahead,
I
John.
thought that's what the direction was gonna be, that our public works would be that committee.
Well, we need that outside.
But you have that group that you're working with, so.
Can't do a lot of this kind of stuff in your committee.
Wouldn't the associations just each
the North South Association bring people to bring your committee suggestions. They already have their groups, but they can bring their things forward to you.
Correct. However,
I mean, you can start that and see if you need it, but they would bring it to you.
for
Their
And that's-
suggestions and their things.
whether we don't have the, well, maybe, I don't know, if we would have the ability to search out some of the finding things that they have. In other words, you're saying let them do the work and then we can take the credit from Steve.
Well, that's what an ad hoc committee does the work, so you get the credit.
And that's why I asked what, do we need, is this a recommendation to an ad hoc committee or?
I would be as long as we get participation from the group.
Why don't you start having it as an agenda item, bringing these groups in, and then see what you guys need to develop it through your work plan, and then the corporation council administrator, I think you guys could figure out how to best maneuver through that, and then make these recommendations to the president. And to get funding and, you know.
Yeah.
I figured that.
Any comments from corporation counsel on this or the administrator?
I like the idea, I mean, it's not my decision, right?
Right.
This is clearly a policy
Mhm.
decision. If you're asking for input, I like the idea of inviting those groups that have already been formed. So you've got the council of the north and the council of the south, and say, hey, we're going to have this as a regularly occurring topic on the agenda, and welcome you to come and speak during public comment, or to listen to our discussions and give us some advice. Maybe even at some point inviting them to the table to really engage in a real robust decision. I do think, however, you want to make sure that this is discussed at the executive committee, so that, because they're the committee that is tasked with saying, okay, this topic goes here and this topic goes there. Just make sure you have their buy-in with sort of having this niche part of trails here and trails overall still at environmental.
This is the
This is the executive committee.
So
I think
you're okay, yeah. So good job.
I know it's morning.
the general idea of this when we opened up our road stuff a couple of years ago or whatever it was, and the town's pretty much complying with the same rules. I think our idea was to try to separate as much as we could with the conflict that was built in between, and I'm sure that if probably addressed that a lot better than I could as far as the Stalwart Trail and the concept that happens as a student result of the trying to combine the two. I wanted this idea in my mind that this is totally eliminate or segregate or separate the two entities, the two recreational activities, just on being solely for ATVs, UTVs, and just take them away from them. We don't want them to get near the bicycles and the horses and that I think is kind of but get the ATVs that they have a totally different geographic idea of how they
Chris, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I guess you know what would be very helpful for me if I'm the rep on NORTAC, it would be that, that would be very helpful to bring recommendations to NORTAC of what you guys from your committee could give me some direction on what, because they're asking for that every meeting. What do communities want? What are you guys talking about? That would be very helpful if your committee could have that as a standing agenda item. And at times you actually recognize these groups and you guys have developed work plans. I could take a work plan and some suggestions to NORTAC and furnish them with what our county's working on. Right now we don't have that. I think that'd be a great tool.
This is coordinated by the council.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess
We're gonna have to adjourn here.
I'm in here. We're almost there.
They got a meeting at 10 o'clock.
Well, I'm on that committee too, so. My last thought on this is basically, okay, what committee should this go to? Is that all right? Do we want to do this? It should go to public safety, public works? Okay. Do we want to have a vote on it or we just do that? We can make that recommendation. Okay.
Put it on the agenda.
Okay. Perfect. Anything else? We'll move on then. Update regarding goal setting for new and existing county, well, we've already kind of done that, so. Is there any comments from you on that?
I would just say that we are working intensely now on developing a process for the county board to set goals, near term and longer term. And you'll be hearing about that very soon. We're going to work toward having a process in place and actually implementing it over the next month so that our June board meeting, we will be able to make finalization. It's been delayed a little bit because of the virus.
Right, I understand. All right. Calendar for next meeting, is there any proposed agenda items that we need to discuss?
This is an organizational meeting, we have new members. You should
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
elect the chair,
Yeah, I was just thinking that, I did thought that this morning too, don't have a vice chair, he's chair's gone. Yeah, I'll second that, I guess you don't need to.
Chair, the chair.
I've been appointed, right?
We don't elect the chair, does this committee? How does that change from other committees?
This is the executive. It used to be that the county board chair was automatically the chair.
The rules of order change.
It used to be that the county board chair was automatically the chair of the executive.
He passed that.
But now that changed at the last county board, and so Brian is.
Okay. Just so that we know the procedure, chair.
Yep.
Yeah, we need a vice chair, you're right, Kim. Okay.
I second that.
We don't need a second. No. All in favor? Oh, well, any more nominations? Any more nominations? Any more nominations? Gotta say it 3 times.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I second the motion.
We haven't even voted. Aye. All right, we can make that. Motion adjourned by Jay. Second by John, as usual. Huh?